So the Soviet ambassador, he was one of Janus's people.
Mm-hmm. Man of peace, voice of reason. The quintessential good Russian. Makes it all the way to the inner circles of Washington. Then, for some reason, he flips. Plans to defect. So on the very night he's supposed to meet with the foreign minister, Jasper Knight, one of Janus's turned American agents, has no choice but to break cover and assassinate him. Does it in the middle of a crowded party, with poison-coated chess pieces.
Doesn't strike me as the type.
Best kind of spy. So this guy might know Janus. I mean, think about it. He might know who Janus really is.
Whoever he is, he's probably pretty ordinary.
Janus, the KGB's top spy master. Ordinary.
As you said, best kind of spy.
Yes, I understand. You tried to reach me earlier. Ah, there you are, my boy. Yes, well, it's about the chairman's seat. I understand Frederick was overlooked despite my recommendations. I would appreciate an explanation of the reasoning behind the decision. Well, it's a long and rather complicated discussion to undertake over the phone. Your request was put in front of the partners and considered, but in the end, it was decided to assign the role to the Washington twins. The partners saw their ideas as a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air? They are fortune seekers, robbers of the past, focusing on glory and wealth and outlandish futuristic dealings rather than conservation. They are not representative of what the society was built for. I understand your concern. Rest assured, I will be watching them closely. Very well. It seems we have a lot to discuss when we meet soon. Agreed. Until then.
Excellent. This confirms that Janus and the Constant will meet up soon. I don't think we'll be able to identify the partners today, but this is very useful. The tape doesn't specify where that meeting will take place, however. We need that final bit, 47. So, we know that Janus is expecting to leave Whittleton Creek via helicopter, and that he's going to meet the Constant at some event. I think it's time to look inside Janus's house for more clues. Janus is apparently engaged in a civil lawsuit with another resident of Whittleton Creek. James Batty, the plaintiff, wants Janus to stop his annual landing of a helicopter near the local creek. The lawsuit also mentions Nolan Cassidy and his unlawful surveillance around town. So Janus takes a helicopter trip once per year. I think we're onto something here, 47. 47? I think it would be beneficial to locate the unlawful surveillance mentioned in the lawsuit. Perhaps Nolan Cassidy's house would be a good place to start. A cigar box with a few cigars and a note inside. Well, this is very interesting. The note indicates that the box was given to Janus by the Constant as per tradition, he writes. 47. This could mean the Constant and Janus meet up on a regular basis. Excellent find. One of Janus's many diaries. He's apparently been the chairman of the Ark Society for years. He stepped down very recently, but is still attached to the society. Well, 47, this is valuable information. Clearly, Janus is a meticulous man. This microfilm contains a lot of heavily redacted minutes from what appears to be a yearly event of some sort. Plenty of initials and project code names that don't ring any bells. Janus is mentioned by name throughout, however. This is a very important find, 47. A ceremonial robe of some sort with a note from Janus attached. The note is interesting. Janus has asked Helen to do a few repairs on the robe before he leaves for his annual trip. He even put a date there. This is valuable information, 47.
Janus. Cold War spy master and the first Providence constant. I wonder how much he remembers. How little he cares.
Helen, how are you today?
Oh, just fine, Janus, darling. It's Saturday, so I've been making a lot of muffins for the town. You know how I love to spoil everyone.
You would have made a good Soviet citizen, Helen. The West could use more people like you. Kind, benign, altruistic.
Ah, well, I don't know about all that. I just feel like giving something back to the community that has given me so much. Speaking of which, when are you coming over? Your robe is ready.
Ah, excellent. I'm still a little sore, but maybe later, if my muscles stop cramping so much.
I would love that.
Me too. Anyway, I will let you get on with your baking. I will call you again later, perhaps.
All right, darling. Why should I have to buy a cordless phone? If he'd just call me on the mobile like I keep telling him to.
Say, Gunther, did you see my photograph? The group photo from the first gathering.
No,
Janus
Mr.
is looking for an
Can't
old
say that I
group
did.
photo.
Well, it must be
It might be
somewhere
interesting to see
around
who's
here.
on it.
I wish you people would clean up after yourselves. I can't find anything in this house anymore.
Right. Sorry, Mr. Janus. I'll tell the men. Shall I ask some of them to look for the photograph?
No, never mind. I'll find it. I just need it before I leave so I can bring it with me.
Understood, sir.
Saturday. Say, Gunther, did you see my photograph? The group photo from the first gathering.
No, Mr. Janus. Can't say that I did.
Well, it must be somewhere around here. I wish you people would clean up after yourselves. I can't find anything in this house anymore.
Right. Sorry, Mr. Janus. I'll tell the men. Shall I ask some of them to look for the photograph?
No, never mind. I'll find it. I just need it before I leave so I can bring it with me.
Understood, sir.
Saturday. Saturday is Muffin Day, Gunther. But I'm not seeing any muffins here.
I think some of the boys may have been a little snack hungry, Mr. Janus.
I remember the first time I had a blueberry muffin. It was 1976. The American Embassy in East Berlin, in the old Prussian Officers Club. I was there on a diplomatic assignment, of course, but the wife of the ambassador was such a talented pastry chef. She managed to completely divert my attention from the task at hand.
That sounds incredible, Mr. Janus.
Those muffins, Gunther, were absolutely fantastic. In all of the years since, I never found anyone who could recreate those muffins. Until Helen moved in next door. So, imagine my disappointment when you now tell me those muffins, those little snippets of heaven, are all gone.
I understand. I'll see what I can do.
Good. Good. Moles, you say? Well, the irony certainly is palpable.
I'm not exactly sure what that means, Mr. Janus, but yes, you do have a rodent infestation of large proportions. I believe it's the potatoes, sir. They seem to really like them.
Of course they do. They are Russian banana potatoes. Their thin, tender skins gently caress one of the best roasting potatoes in the world. I just had a large batch of earthworms distributed in the potato patch. That must be what's attracted these little pests.
That would certainly explain it, sir. But, sorry, I didn't actually bring the tools to fix this problem.
That's of no concern to me. Improvise. I don't care if you have to chop off your own limbs and stuff them into the ground to fill those holes. Just fix it! I can't stand looking at this mess.
I'll do my best, Mr. Janus.
See that you do. And let me know when you're done. Where's that therapist? He should be here already. I swear if he's down by the creek feeding those ducks again. Hey! Any sign of that Lafayette guy yet? Never mind. What I wouldn't give for a nice pack of Novaya right now. I remember the first pack I had, back in '67. Nothing will ever come close. Certainly not this thing.
The doctors have recommended you don't smoke cigarettes, Mr. Janus.
I know damn well what the doctors have recommended. I got to be my age by not following their recommendations. Doctors are clueless homicide detectives poking around random people's bodies searching for clues as to the cause of death before the patient is even dead. They have no idea about how anything works, guessing their way through fatality after fatality, telling people what they should or should not do with their tiresome recommendations.
You've got the cravings all right, Mr. Janus, but doctor's orders are doctor's orders.
Bah! Hello, Helen.
Janus, darling, I was just about to call you. My old colleague from the university sent me a copy of his new book. It's a study on the psychological effects of living in suburban America. I think you'd like it.
Did he conclude that the cookie-cutter design, the unnaturalness of the hasty urban planning, and the feeling of malaise expressed by most residents in suburbs are somehow connected?
Well, yes.
I've had 90-odd years to understand the human condition, Helen. I've lived through some of the most iconic moments in recent history. I shaped some of them with my own hands. Nothing about the psychology of humanity surprises me anymore. If you place people inside big boxes, located inside the big gardens, or surrounded by wide streets and long driveways, you create a prison. Isolation and the sense of solitude is fundamental in the construction of the suburb.
I think you're being a little pessimistic here, my darling. I quite like it here.
The layout of the American suburb is designed to create an impersonal culture that fosters anxiety and fuels consumerism. You can only drive to places from here, and the only places worth driving to are places where you spend money. The suburb is the perfect commercial and capitalistic housing unit.
That sounds very interesting, my darling. Let's discuss this some more once I've read his book. Bye now. No, it's fine. I love being completely stationary when you're blathering on. I've got nothing better to do, naturally.
Are the new suitcases here yet?
No, Mr. Janus. I believe they're still withheld by customs.
Back in the day, the customs officials knew not to touch any of my things.
Oh, diplomatic immunity has its advantages. Online shopping just isn't quite the same.
Let me know when they arrive, Gunter. I want to inspect the craftsmanship myself.
Of course, Mr. Janus.
Still no muffins. Still no muffins.
No, sir. It seems not.
You know, when you've been as close to the events of the world as I have, when you have seen the world on the brink of nuclear disaster not once, but twice, you develop a somewhat somber look on life.
I can imagine, Mr. Janus.
My life has been about sacrifice, duty, survival. Important things to grow up with and to pass on. I hope to have done that through my efforts with the Ark as well, though I no longer control that. But here, it seems that a different set of values persist. Greed. Free for all. You see what I am getting at.
I did tell the men not to eat the last muffin, Mr. Janus.
In my day, Disobedience sent you to the corrective work camps.
I'll see what I can find, Mr. Janus.
Come on! Back in the Soviet Union, I would have a line of therapists out there, all eager to help me with my old bones. But here, no. I'll be lucky if he shows up at all. He'd better be dead. Or worse. You know, I knew a girl back in East Berlin. Beautiful girl. Her mother was Polish, father German. She could empty a pack of Caro cigarettes in 2 hours.
I'm not getting you cigarettes, Mr. Janus. It's not good for you.
Helena was her name, I think. Worked as an agent for the KGB. She infiltrated a group of Stasi agents who had decided to exfiltrate to the West. She would slip communications out through her empty cigarette packs, which we would pick out from the trash. Clever girl.
What happened to her?
Oh, they found out. Shot her through the head and tried to make an escape. Stasi agents executed them for treason. Clever girl, though. Helena. A whole pack in just 2 hours. Helen, I just realized you've been back for a full year now.
Well, I suppose it has been a year now. Yes. My, how time flies.
I understand how you feel. I too was forced to leave my normal life for a time. While it wasn't ideal, I do believe now that it made me a better human. Stronger, more resilient. I think it's probably one of the reasons I've lived this long.
Funny. I'd always written your longevity up to plain old stubbornness, Janus.
I made some fundamental choices in life that have, for better or worse, kept me going through the years. I've been driven by a dogged determination to see events unfold as I wanted them. Maybe that is just stubbornness.
And you're able to live with the choices you've made? The effects they've had on the world?
Yes. They were, after all, conscious choices made in an attempt to better the world. I see nothing wrong with that.
That's good to hear, my darling. Well, I have muffins to bake. We should talk later. It cannot be that hard to just learn a person's mobile number, even for him.
We need to prepare the items in the basement, Gunther.
How so, Mr. Janus?
Well, you don't expect them just to sit around for every thief to grab when I'm away, do you?
Oh, Mr. Janus, there's life left in you yet. You're not going anywhere for a long time.
I'm not talking about dying, Gunther. I am talking about my trip.
Of course, Mr. Janus. We'll have it sorted out.
No muffins. No muffins. Of course. Is that him? I wonder. No. No, that's not him. Where could he be? This pain is getting intense. I need that session. Did you ever smoke, Gunther?
No, sir. Never did.
You should take it up. I always found it calming, soothing, even. I remember once, I was involved with this project, trying to create super soldiers. Sounds sort of stupid now that I think about it.
What, like Captain America?
No, nothing like that at all. Well, anyway, the doctor responsible had lost control of a couple of his specimens. He had to eradicate a small town to cover his tracks, and I remember standing there, the smoke from the remains of the burned town filling my nose. The sight was... well, I closed my eyes and just smelled it, and I was hit by an overwhelming calm. Every time I light up a cigarette, I can still smell the town.
That's a little disturbing, Mr. Janus.
Really? I think it's rather beautiful. Tell me, Gunther, what is your impression of this new fellow, Nolan Cassidy?
Well, he's a decorated agent, former Secret Service, eager, meticulous, and forceful.
Yes. I don't much like him either.
Mr. Janus, I didn't say that.
Please, don't insult my intelligence. My body is frail and failing, but my mind is sharp as ever. Everything you just said points to a neurotic man with serious father issues. His dedication to Providence rather than his country points to an unreliable personality. He is a control freak, a man without a steady base. He has had one or two marginally romantic relationships with women reminding him of his mother, but is ultimately unable to construct actual emotional attachments to people in the long term. He is a wooden figurine carved by an uncaring system using a blunt tool and little imagination.
You got all that from what I said?
I may have done a bit of research when he started talking about restricting my travel arrangements. Just in case, you know.
Ever the spy, Mr. Janus.
No muffins. Will nobody fill this plate again? Wish that you never have to use one of these, Gunther. Dehumanizing piece of technology.
If it helps you live longer, though.
At what cost? I'm basically locked to my own house now. My annual trip becomes more and more bothersome since I have to carry this thing around with me everywhere.
Sure, I can see how that's not very handy.
It's a pain in the ass, is what it is. Mr. Batty finally decided to go all the way with his lawsuit. Can you believe that?
You still don't want me to have one of the men lean on him a little? He's a feisty fella, but I'm sure we can get him to see things your way.
No. Why use a blunt tool for a delicate operation when you have a suite of surgical instruments available? The man is within his rights, and he should be allowed to exercise that right.
That's very generous of you, and dare I say, American?
My plan is simple. Use my lawyers and the vast resources of my network to drag this out in court until the man runs out of money. With a little luck, he should be forced to sell that house of his in a year's time. So yes, I suppose you're right. It is the American approach.
Brutal, Mr. Janus. That's just brutal.
Will nobody fill this plate again? Someone ate the muffins. Unbelievable. Well, maybe Gunther is right. Maybe it is time to quit smoking. I can't believe Gunther threw away my last pack. Again. If he wasn't so agreeable, I would have him deported. What I wouldn't do for a pack of cigarettes right now. Well, look who finally showed up. You know, Lafayette, in the 2 years you've been coming here, I don't think you've been on time once.
I'm sorry, Mr. Janus. Bike trouble.
More like discipline trouble.
All right, Mr. Janus. Before we begin, we just need you to air those lungs through with nice, big breaths of oxygen. Think we can manage that today?
Well, I don't know if we can do it, but I certainly can. Stop talking to me like I'm a senile old man.
Well, someone certainly got the wrong foot out of bed this morning.
Who are you? Where's Lafayette?
He's not well.
Well, hopefully it's something serious. I wouldn't mind if Lafayette was replaced permanently. He's an insufferable bore with a room temperature IQ. But if you're the new guy, you'll need to be on time. I have a busy schedule, you know. You have a very distinct face, my friend. Eastern European, am I right? But more than that, a refined mix of cultures. You look almost like an artist's rendering of the perfect man. I knew a man once. A doctor. He would have found you quite interesting, I think. So, back to this thing. I'll just spend a few minutes with the inhaler to fill my system with as much oxygen as possible before we proceed to the bathroom for the health check itself.
Well, while Mr. Janus fills his lungs, I'd like a quick word with you. Please, come with me. All right, new guy. I know this looks like a relaxed operation, but I run a tight ship. Nobody gets alone time with Janus unless I know them, and I don't know you. So here's what I'll do. I'm going downstairs to run a security check on you. It should only be a few minutes. In the meantime, you wait in the study. We'll lock the doors and my men will make sure you don't accidentally wander off. I'm sure you understand. Please, wait in there.
"47, you have to find a way out of there. I can't possibly construct a viable ID for you in time. I'll have Miss Hall remotely interfere with their search, but we can't keep it up for long." Well, that was certainly an interesting turn of events. Still, no rest for the wicked, 47. You could probably slip back inside and give Janus his health check while his bodyguard is busy. Just be mindful of the patrolling guards.
Don't worry. You're in good hands. This way, please.
All right. Let's go then. Good day. You know, you remind me of someone I met a long time ago. A young boy in Romania.
Tell me more about this boy.
Ah, the boy. I remember his eyes better than anything. Ice cold, defiant. Maybe it was the nature of the project itself that led me to dislike him, but I felt nothing but disappointment when I looked at him. What a waste of resources.
Project. What project?
It was all based on one madman's pipe dream. Create an army of super soldiers through genetic manipulation. Somehow, he had managed to impress my superiors, and they had provided him with effectively endless resources to be wasted on foolish ideas and experiments. The project was idiotic. The subjects were erratic, unreliable. Why build an army of reckless super soldiers when a handful of well-placed spies can do so much more for your cause?
What became of him?
Oh, I don't know. Dead, I assume. In the end, we had his mind wiped. All the boys underwent the same treatment. I didn't follow the subsequent cleanup process, but from what I understand, the doctor and everyone else associated with the project is long gone.
I see.
Yes, well, enough reminiscing. Are you about done here?
Almost done. Yes.
You have strong hands. Last time I met someone with a firm grip like that was back in Minsk in '78. Olga had hands the size of a Kamchatka brown bear's paws. I miss her sometimes. Her command of the human body was legendary. Run along now. We're done here.
Please move into the study, sir. I don't have all day. Go ahead. It's perfectly safe. I said, please move into the study. Final warning, new guy. Move into the study or I will escalate the situation. Violently.
Well, come on then. I don't want to lie here all day. I know you're new, but it's just a simple health check. Get on with it. Let's get on with it. It's not like I'm enjoying myself here. Ah, there you are. I may have one foot in the grave, but without my smokes, I might as well be dead. As old Trotsky said, just as a lamp before going out shoots up in a brilliant flame. Aha! There we are. Just what I needed. This should get the old heart racing again. Oh my. I was sure I was going to have to kill someone to secure one of these muffins. Aha! Finally! I thought I was going to die before getting my hands on one of these wonderful muffins again. Oh, tea. Just what I needed. Oh, perfect. I was getting a little thirsty. Ah, lovely tea. this takes me back. The night I passed the torch. End of an era as constant. We had the Vienna Philharmonic play it that night. Empty concert hall except for the two of us. A rare moment indeed. A good talk, hands shaken, honor among men. As it should be. I wonder if he remembers it as vividly as I do. I should ask him when we meet again soon.
So, that piece of music sparked a memory in Janus's mind, and we now have confirmation that he and the Constant will be meeting each other soon. Great work, 47.
I really must find some time to finish my documentation of this piece. To imagine it once stood on the work desk of Lenin himself. A daily reminder of what he fought for. A heavy burden to inherit. I must make sure it gets a place of honor. The twins will likely object to my beautiful donation. Not futuristic enough. Not sufficiently forward-viewing. They would do well to remember that the past is what shapes us, not the future. It took quite an effort to locate you. Stolen by cowardly capitalist spies trying to destabilize the motherland. Lost for 43 years, until you were found by a Polish peasant girl on a former state farm outside Krakow. What might have happened in those years? I must dig deeper to find all the stories.
I'm done.
Great. Let me have a quick look. A bit unorthodox, maybe, but you got the job done. Let me get Mr. Janus so he can inspect it for himself. Hey, tell Mr. Janus the molehills have been fixed.
Okay, just a moment.
So, just to warn you, I'm sure this whole inspection's gonna remind Janus about something exciting from his past. And I'm sure that he's gonna tell us all about it. You know, old people syndrome. Just play along. Or better yet, keep your distance. Oh, here he is. Mr. Janus.
So the holes are filled, huh?
Yes, Mr. Janus. The gardener took a bit of an unorthodox approach, but they do look filled to me.
Well, I think I'll be the judge of that myself. Thank you very much. Moles, moles, moles. Reminds me of a funny story. The embassy in Nicaragua in 1986. Carmen. She had a charming mole right next to her perfectly luscious, plump lips. I discovered the mole was fake after we kissed, and it got stuck on my cheek. I kept it in a tin box to remind me of her after they sent her to the camps. Interesting. I see that you have completely blocked their escape routes. They're trapped and completely at my mercy. Takes me right back. Looks good, I guess. You know, life gets dull when you're old. Dealing with moles back in the day was much more exciting. Once I controlled the whole world. Now I can't even control my own backyard. This looks good. Seems like I've been forced to deal with moles my entire life. Moles in my organization, moles I employed, and now these little pests. Good. Good. American moles are the worst. Thankfully, in this case, we can skip the interrogation part and go straight to the execution. Beautiful work. The pests will soon be gone, and then I can get back to planting my vegetables.
Mr. Gardner?
Well, we certainly put an end to that little invasion, didn't we? The sun is nice today. I think I'll take a little nap out here. Leave me. I want some peace and quiet. Oh, that was refreshing. I haven't napped like that since the wall came down.
Janus, what a lovely surprise. Come in. Come in.
Thank you, Helen.
It's so good to see you over here, my darling. How are you feeling?
Better. The days have their ups and downs, as I'm sure you know. Nolan Cassidy is well, excuse me, but a real pain in the ass.
I never did understand why you needed to have so much security around you, Janus.
It's been like that all my adult life, so it's hardly something I notice anymore. But this new Herald, well, he's no Schmidt.
You liked Schmidt, didn't you?
I did. But I want you to know that I hold no grudge. I can't say I fully understand why you... Well, I've done much worse. Much worse.
Janus, It was an accident. I want you to know that. He wasn't supposed to die.
I believe you, Helen. You went through things while away that no person of your fragile nature should have to go through. Experiences like that, they change a person. Stir at things deep inside that should not be stirred, and which, if brought to the surface, cannot easily be pushed under again.
I think it's always been there. The urge. My brother had pets. They would inexplicably die, and Mother would be furious with him. I enjoyed that. At university, I would spike the boys' drinks just to see what happened. One of them fell from a window and broke his back, but I got it under control until... well...
You know, Helen, this is good. I feel like this opens a new part of our relationship. There are things I know about drugs, poisons, chemicals I could teach you, if you wish to learn. But I think that is for another time. I am tired now. I am glad we talked, Helen.
Me too, Janus. Me too.
Well, that was a thorough display of surveillance cleanup, 47. I wonder what will happen now.
Mr. Janus, Cassidy just called. He wants a word outside.
What in God's name does that fool want now? Very well. I suppose I can indulge his whims for a few minutes. I have some choice words for him that I'd like to deliver anyway.
Ah, Janus. I wanted to have a serious talk with you.
Somehow, that doesn't surprise me. What do you want?
Your security system is down. Did you know that?
I do now. But tell me, Mr. Cassidy, what's the real reason for your visit here?
What? That is the real reason. What are you talking about?
You could have told us the system was down over the phone. No need to come over here. Unless your move was, in fact, to establish dominance. To show Gunther and the men here who the real boss is. To demonstrate your dedication and capability. Mr. Cassidy, you are in Whittleton Creek against your will. A man of your ambition and talent would never volunteer for an assignment like this one. So, clearly you've been placed here. Maybe you screwed up. Maybe you're not quite as valuable as you like to think. But still, you find yourself here. Shh, it's all right. You're trying to prove yourself to us. You install cameras all over town. You assume control of a house from which you can record my phone calls and monitor my movements. You fly in black ops experts to patrol and surveil. You intercept my letters, write mile-long reports, and dutifully file them with your superiors, who never read them but snicker at how you overexert yourself to prove you don't belong here. How much sleep have you had in the past 2 months?
I'm sleeping just fine, thank you.
You can't fool an old spy, Mr. Cassidy. Your predecessor eventually came around to seeing things my way. I'm sure you will too. Now, if you will excuse me, I think I need to go inside and rest for a bit. I trust you will come by again if the security system fails.
You're damn right I will.
Excellent. I do appreciate dependability. Makes it much easier to manipulate people. Good day, Mr. Cassidy. If you're expecting me to talk, you might as well kill me, 'cause I'm not going to. Do this old man a favor and get this over with. I don't care if you release me from your grip or from this miserable life, but for Christ's sake, choose one or the other. Are you savoring this moment, or are you holding back? Could it be that you remember something? You might be old, Janus, but this is not time. Not yet, damn it! I'm bored. Pull the trigger. Old and weak. I have no fight left in me. My dear child, look at me. Do you really think that I fear death? I only fear dying a traitor. So go ahead and try your worst. This is bad. Maybe as bad as London 1963. I got out then. I'll get out now! Point that thing at me all you want. I'm not gonna talk. Do what you gotta do, boy. This could be the end, Janus. This could finally be the end. In me. I'm ready. Go ahead, my boy. You earned this.